ever stayed up late reading a book just to stay up late reading one chapter, then read another one, then end up I need to get this many pages done, You're reading a book and the book is bad, awful. Like the book is so bad, and you get to that point in the book where it picks up, but you're like, okay, it's picking up, but where are we going here? So you finally get to a point in that book, and you just like, I'm about to just stop reading this, but you want to power through it and just keep going. All right, so I read a book this week, and it just had me crashing out last night when I finished it. Not in a good way, though. Not in a good way. This is the book, The Paper Palace. And the praise for this book is very alarming to me, because the praise for this Paper Palace, it says, tightly woven, and immediately the Paper Palace took us deep into a vivid summer landscape, a family and a private, long-standing love story, and holds us there from the start to finish. I'm gonna say my opinions for the end, because no, it's a story. It is a story. It's not my story. It's someone's story, but it is a story. So this author, she has written a magnificent page turner, a love story that shimmers with desire, intelligence, and humor. I didn't find nothing funny in this story that I laughed about at all. The cover is very misleading to me too. So lush and gorgeously written. The Paper Palace is as intoxicating as a summer night by the sea. I didn't want it to end. Okay. The Paper Palace turned out to be a very turn pager I needed. If you want to learn something about love over time, a long time, and how it can hurt and how it can scar or how it can soar, read this book. Set in the physical psych landscape of Cape Cod, it did not give Cape Cod to me. The Paper Palace is a fever dream of a novel, luminous with love and shot through with humor and heartbreak. It was a book that explores the indelibility of childhood, what it means to be shaped by a place, and all that is unpredictable in the human heart. Okay. A magnificent page turner. That's what they're calling this book. It was on Reed's Book Club. There's a little, I guess, her brand on it. It was given to me from a friend of mine, and she told me to read it. This is the disclaimer that she gave me attached to the book. She said, lots of love, scandal, great ending, had me like, what the F, slow to start. Okay. All right. So let me read the synopsis of this book. This place knows all my secrets. Before anyone else is awake, on a perfect August morning, Elle Bishop heads out for a swim in a freshwater pond below the Paper Palace, the gentle decaying set of cabins in the backwoods of Cape Cod, where her family has spent every summer for generations. She has passed this house. As she passed the house, Elle glances through the screen porch at the unclear table from the dinner of the previous evening. Empty wine glasses, candle wax on the tablecloth, echoes of laughter of her family and friends. Then she dives beneath the surface of the pond and recalls what happened last night. The secret, passionate encounter with her childhood soulmate out behind the house as Elle's husband and mother chat to the guests inside. So begins a story that unfolds 24 hours and across 50 years as decades of family legacy, love, lies, secrets, and unspeakable incidents from her childhood leads Elle to participate of a life-changing decision. Over the course of this day, Elle will have to decide between the world she has made with much loved husband, Peter, and the life she's always imagined to be hers with her childhood love, Jonas. If a tragic event had not forever changed the course of their lives, spellbinding and surprising, the Paper Palace brilliantly illuminates the tensions between desire and safety, the legacy of tragedy and crimes and misdemeanors of family. So this part, it's gonna have some spoilers in it from here. So if you don't want to go through any spoilers and debunk this book, you can go ahead and just stop watching and just go and read this book on your own. So I will have spoilers from this book and trigger warnings, because I was not given that in advance and I just read this book. So right now, 6 minutes, stop watching if you don't want the spoilers. So this book, it basically it's divided into 4 parts. Elle is like the first part of the book. And this goes on from her perspective and her childhood and her upbringing. And then it switches over. Let me see. So this is like 100, so many pages. I'm reading. 100 pages or so. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, book 2 starts at page 141. So 140 pages of Elle's story is book 1. Then you have book 2 of Jonas' story. Jonas' book story, so that's why I'm like, okay, maybe the book is gonna get better because it's like a slow read. And it talks still from her perspective in Jonas's book. So I'm like, okay, no, that's not right. So this is Jonas's book, this is the middle. And his is from, let me see, page 142 to page 207. Then it goes to book 3 with Peter, the husband. So Elle is the main girl, Jonas is her childhood soulmate, and Peter is her husband. And Peter's story is book 3, and then it ends with book 4 this summer. So in the start of the book, it goes back from her childhood where her and her brother are in toxic, their parents are just not well. I don't know if it's her brother or her. Who it was, somebody's parents were just not well. I didn't follow that part, but the daddy had the children, the boy was masturbating him and the daughter was giving him fellatio. So that was a red flag for me to be like, what the hell? Why would you put that in the book? So the parents, they can't stay in a consistent relationship with their partners. So they always had like a step parent. So the parents both were just like off. I don't know what was wrong with them. Maybe they just was so traumatized or whatever. They kept getting divorced and married and remarried and divorced. And then all this time, the kids would be moved around place to place. And then they would have stepbrothers and stepsisters. And they would go to different schools. And they had no consistency in these kids' lives. So to me, that's just like another red flag. You don't have no consistency. The parenting was awful. No consistency in the children's lives. So then this girl is talking about she met this boy, Jonah. He's 2 years younger than her. think he's like 9 and she's 11. That's already like frowned upon to me too, because I'm like, okay, this is a little boy. He's following you. He admires you. To me, you're going to always be a little boy. To her, he was always a little boy. He started getting older and cuter. Okay, this is Jonas. She goes on with her life. He goes on with his life. She confided in Jonas because her brother, her stepbrother, not brother, they kept putting that in there. Conrad, he had some other shit going on with him. Excuse the language. Conrad had some stuff going on with him where he was a pervert. He was going through puberty, but he also was like seeing how the girl changed. Like he walked in on her while she was trying to put her tampon in at camp, and he was just staring. Like it was just nasty. So little things like that grew him to be what he was. So eventually she was hanging on. I guess he really liked her, but he was like very aggressive with it. So they stayed in the same house. That was her stepbrother. So he started sneaking in her room and just like masturbating. And then she would act like she was asleep, but she really wasn't asleep. But then eventually he was waiting for his time to come for her. And he still was creeping into her room. But one time he actually got on her, and he actually did whatever to her. And he threatened her before too. He was saying, I'm going to put my you know what in you and get you pregnant. Like, you the perfect daughter, I'm just gonna go ahead and get you pregnant. He told that to her at a point. So I was just like, okay, this is just a lie. I don't like that. So goes on, he rapes her. She tells her best friend Jonas. They go out on the lake. Then he wants to go with them too on the picnic. So they allow him to do it. And her and Jonas end up knocking him over and murdering him, letting him drown. They didn't murder him. He just drowned and they let him drown. So they swore not to tell anybody. So they move on with their lives. Jonas stopped coming to camp. She kept coming looking for Jonas, but he didn't come. So she just decided that she still was going to come. She still came. Mind you, the cabins that they lived in smelled like roaches and rats and piss. I don't like that in the story either, where they have all that details. Why Cape Cod and rat piss? I don't want that in the same sentence. Like, I don't think that's So this is a nice cover, but it was very misleading because I wanted something sweet and some love, I guess romance, but this is not a romance. This is a literary fiction book. It's on childhood trauma, parents, awful parents, and they didn't supervise their kids. Like, they was busy doing their own thing, and the kids out there doing what they doing anyways. So Peter comes along, some random guy. I'm assuming that Peter, he was from London. Somehow they jumping from London to New York, to Texas, to Cape Cod, to all these different places, Kansas. So her and Peter start a relationship. He saves her from being mobbed, and when she's mobbed, he just happened to be there. So she just liked him by proximity. So it seems like she just liked whoever is around her at this point. So they get married. It doesn't show that she's in love at all to me. She just liked him because he protected her. Her parents never protected her. Jonas was the only one that has ever protected her, but he wasn't available. So she started running into Jonas, and they would she still longed for him. So whatever. So Peter, unbeknownst to him, she had already did what she was thinking that she wanted to do. She already got her lick back from her childhood. She wanted to do with Jonas. Now he's grown. They did what they did. She has a whole family. He's married. She's jealous of his wife. He's jealous of her husband. And the book carries on. And the relationship with Peter and her mom is great. But she never told her mom what happened, but she wrote it in a journal. And it come to find out, the Conrad kid, he was doing it to his own blood sister. So it has incest in this book. So he was doing it to this sister. She was always weird and she smelled funny, but all this time her brother was molesting her. So they talk about that a little bit, and I don't know if she told the sister Rosemary, that was the sister name, that she did what she did to Conrad. She didn't have to do it, but Rosemary was praying that he died anyways, and eventually he ended up dead. Now, nobody was apprehended in this book at all, so that made me crash out a lot, because in the end, she just decides that she can't leave her husband. She can't leave her husband. She has to stay with him, especially for the kids and the stability. And she just randomly okay, wake up and have breakfast like nothing else is, like nothing. So this book last night had me crashing out. I had to go to bed with this, and I was like, I thought the book was gonna pick up and get good or get better, but this book did not meet my expectations. I read this book and I finished it, but some of it was just like, okay, lady, get to the point. It was like begrudgingly reading. And I think that this is her debut book. Some people just need to stop writing, because this, maybe it was reaching a lot for the depth in the story. At a point in this story, I think 3 kids drowned at that lake that they used to go to. Like, why you gotta put that in there? They going to the grave site to see the Conrad kid that died. He was almost 18, or he was a little over 18. And the girl he molested, she goes and lays on his grave and apologized. You were awful to me, but I was worse. Okay, because you killed him? Yeah. That made me want to crash out. And she just did, it was like trauma in this book on children. And it was dark because of the things that happened to the children. You didn't have to add in the last quarter of this book 3 kids drowned in that lake at y'all summer lake. You didn't have to add that in there. So, this is a very low-rated book. It's a nice cover. It has a stamp on it, but it just was not my cup of tea. I would not recommend this this girl, I posted this, that I was reading this, and somebody asked me, was it good? And I said, I don't recommend it. And I was like already to 150, and I already knew I didn't like this book from the beginning of it. And even when it picked up, I'm like, okay, get to the point. What is this? Why is this book so great? Like, why is it the best? Then at the point, the husband was like, I saw you kiss him. And she shook, like, what you mean you saw him kiss me? Oh, he burned himself and you kissed his wound. You kissed his boo-boo. Okay. So, that's all the spoilers in this book. If you read it, tell me what you think, or if you have read it. If you have read this, tell me what you thought, because the humor went right over my head. It was too dark to be humorous. So, that's it. Paper Palace.